John Grove stared at his laptop screen in disbelief. The mortgage application portal displayed an error message in harsh red letters. Insufficient funds. He shook his head. That's impossible. He opened another tab to check his bank account. There should have been over $1 million in it. His trust fund inheritance was released on his 25th birthday, but the money was gone. His balance showed just over $27,000. His hands trembled as he called the bank. After 20 minutes of security questions, account verification, and being placed on hold, the representative confirmed his worst fear. The majority of your funds were transferred to an external account 3 weeks ago, Mr. Grove, the banker told him. The transfer was authorized using your credentials and security questions. John felt the blood drain from his face. 3 weeks ago, while he had been at a tech security conference in San Francisco, eagerly thinking about buying his first home upon return, there was only one person who could have done this. One person who knew all his security question answers. One person arrogant enough to believe he could get away with it. His older brother Cole. "You should thank me," Cole said with a dismissive wave of his hand. They sat at an upscale wine bar, the kind of place Cole insisted on being seen at. "I'm investing it better than you ever could." John kept his voice low, fighting to stay calm. "You stole it from me. Almost $1 million. My entire inheritance." "Borrowed," Cole corrected. He flashed the smile that had charmed his way through college while barely passing. "And it's our inheritance, yours and mine, technically. Mom and Dad set up the trust for both of us." "Right, your half of which you received 4 years ago." "Received and lost." A flicker of irritation crossed Cole's perfectly composed face. At 29, he styled himself as a financial wunderkind, a day trader with a golden touch. The truth, which John had only recently learned from their cousin, was that Cole had blown through his own $1 million trust fund within 18 months of his 25th birthday, on a series of increasingly desperate investments. "Market fluctuations," Cole said. "Temporary setbacks." He signaled the server for another $30 glass of wine. "The tech startup I'm backing now is going to explode once we secure Series A funding next month. You'll get your money back doubled, maybe tripled." "I don't want it doubled. I want it back now. I was buying a house." "A house?" Cole laughed. "God, you're boring. You have a house." "Because I have a wife." "But you, a cybersecurity job at some faceless corporation, and now a house in the suburbs. Is a golden retriever next? At least I'm doing something interesting with our family money." John leaned forward. "It's theft, Cole. I'm going to the police." For the first time Cole's smile faltered slightly. Then it returned colder this time. "Go ahead. I'll deny everything. It'll be your word against mine, and I've covered my tracks. Besides, can you afford the legal fees to fight me? I know exactly how much you have left." He took a sip of wine and leaned back, radiating confidence. "Face it, little brother, you're a tech geek who plays by the rules. I'm not. That's why I'll always win." When John got home to his small apartment that night, his phone buzzed with a text from Cole. "What are you going to do about it, little brother?" What Cole had forgotten was that John didn't just play with computers, as he often put it. He was a cybersecurity specialist who had graduated at the top of his class, and now worked protecting corporate networks from exactly the kind of people who thought they were too clever to get caught. John spent the weekend gathering information. A casual call to their cousin Emily revealed that Cole had invested heavily in a tech startup called Tech Pro Analytics. They were a data company that claimed to have revolutionary algorithms for predicting consumer behavior. "He's been bragging about it to everyone," Emily said. "He convinced your Aunt Martha to invest some of her retirement fund too. And I think his wife's father also put in a significant amount." That explained why Cole needed the money so urgently. He'd gambled with family funds before, but bringing his father-in-law into it was new. Malcolm Reynolds was old money, the kind of wealth that came with connections and influence. If Cole lost Malcolm's investment, there would be consequences beyond financial ruin. By Monday morning John had a plan. He wasn't going to confront Cole directly again, that had proven useless. Instead, he would use his skills to uncover the truth about Tech Pro Analytics, and let the consequences fall where they may. First, he needed to get inside Tech Pro's systems. This turned out to be remarkably easy. The startup had prioritized growth over security, and their network protection was laughable to someone with John's expertise. Within hours he had access to their internal documents, communications, and most importantly their actual user and revenue data. What he found confirmed his suspicions. The numbers TechPro was presenting to investors were wildly inflated. Where they claimed 500,000 active users, they actually had fewer than 50,000. Their revenue projections were based on conversion rates that existed only in spreadsheets, not reality. Even more damning, John found emails between Cole and TechPro's founder Jackson Smythe discussing how to massage the numbers for the upcoming Series A presentation. They weren't just optimistic, they were deliberately fraudulent. John created an anonymous email account and drafted messages to the other investors, including carefully selected screenshots of internal documents. But he didn't send them yet. Timing would be crucial. Next, he turned his attention to Cole's trading patterns. Having grown up with his brother, John knew Cole had certain ways he approached risk. When cornered, Cole always doubled down, convinced the next big win was just around the corner. It made him predictable. John planted seeds of doubt about TechPro on investor forums, using various aliases to question their technology claims. As expected, Cole responded by increasing his stake. John suspected the money Cole added was his money, but he was in it for more than his money back. He was in it to teach his brother a lesson. All he had to do now was wait for the perfect moment to spring the trap. That moment came 3 weeks later, on the day of TechPro's big investor presentation for Series A funding. John knew Cole had staked everything on this meeting, not just John's stolen trust fund, but his reputation, his marriage to a woman from a wealthy family, and his future as a supposed financial genius. John timed his strike with military precision. 30 minutes before the presentation was scheduled to begin at the downtown conference center, he sent the evidence of fabricated user numbers to every investor scheduled to attend. He included bank records showing the irregular movement of funds, including the transfer from his own account, and emails discussing the deliberate misrepresentation of data. Then he waited. The first texts started coming in from their cousin Emily, who worked at a law firm representing one of the smaller investors. Her text read, "OMG, what's happening with Cole? Our investor is backing out of the TechPro meeting. Investors that are already here are leaving." Then she sent, "Jackson Smythe just accused Cole of misleading them about investor interest. They're screaming at each other in the lobby." John didn't respond. He was too busy monitoring the financial fallout. As news spread through investor circles about potential fraud at TechPro, the few public companies who had forged connections with the startup saw their stock prices falling. Cole predictably tried to trade his way out of the situation, making increasingly desperate moves to salvage what he could. That's when John sent an anonymous tip to the Securities and Exchange Commission detailing Cole's pattern of unauthorized insider trading and potential securities fraud. By evening, Cole's trading accounts were frozen pending investigation. The final blow came from an unexpected source. Malcolm Reynolds, Cole's father-in-law, was not just wealthy but extremely well connected in financial circles. Once he learned that Cole had lost a significant portion of his investment through what appeared to be deliberate misrepresentation, he made some calls. By the next morning, TechPro Analytics was effectively defunct. Jackson Smythe had disappeared. Cole was facing not just financial ruin but potential legal consequences. 3 months later, John used the money recovered through asset seizure proceedings against TechPro to make a down payment on a house in one of the city's nicest neighborhoods. It happened to be in the same area where Cole and his wife Sophia had lived until recently, before Sophia forced John out, filed for a divorce, and put their house up for sale in the wake of the financial scandal. John was directing movers where to place his furniture when Cole showed up. He looked thinner, his designer clothes replaced by a department store suit that hung awkwardly on his frame. "I thought you'd be at Mom and Dad's," John said, genuinely surprised to see his brother. "Just picking up the last of my things from the house," Cole replied, his voice lacking its usual confidence. "Sophia is letting me collect what's left of my belongings while she's out of town." His tone was bitter. The brothers stood in uncomfortable silence until Cole finally spoke again. "How did you do it?" "I was careful. I covered my tracks." John considered lying, letting Cole wonder for the rest of his life. But there was no point now. "You underestimated me," he said simply. "You always have. You thought because I worked in cybersecurity, not in finance, that I was just some nerd who wouldn't know how to fight back. You forgot that in today's world, information is the most valuable currency there is. And controlling information is what I do." Cole nodded slowly. "The investor exodus, the SEC investigation, that was all you." "You asked what I was going to do about it," John reminded him. Now you know. Cole's phone buzzed. He checked it and his face fell further. My lawyer. The civil suit from Sophia's father is proceeding. He's determined to make an example of me. You stole from family, Cole. From me, from Aunt Martha, from your wife's father. What did you expect? I expected to win, he said quietly. I always have before. As Cole turned to leave, John reached into his pocket and handed him a small envelope. Inside was a gift card for $10. What's this? Cole asked. A new start, John replied. Invest it wisely. The second investigation concluded 6 months later. Cole avoided criminal charges by cooperating fully and providing evidence against Jackson Smythe, but the civil suits from investors, particularly the relentless pursuit by Malcolm Reynolds, ensured he would spend years paying back what he had lost. John's new cybersecurity firm, Phoenix Digital Protection, quickly gained a reputation for its expertise in financial security systems. His experience had given him unique insight into how vulnerable even sophisticated financial networks could be to someone with the right knowledge and motivation. At the firm's one-year anniversary party, Emily approached John with a glass of champagne. To success born from betrayal, she toasted. Though I still can't believe you took down Cole so completely. Aren't you worried about family holidays being awkward? John shrugged. He's still my brother. He's working at Dad's old friend's insurance company now, starting at the bottom. Mom says he's actually applying himself for once. Still, Emily pressed, wasn't it hard getting revenge like that? John considered the question carefully before answering. It wasn't about revenge. Not really, he said finally. It was about justice and restitution. Cole thought being clever meant he could take what wasn't his without consequences. He needed to learn that's not how the world works, and he needed to make it right. He looked around at his new company, built partly with recovered funds of his inheritance. It was about making sure he couldn't hurt anyone else, and building something better from what he nearly destroyed. Across town, in a modest apartment far from his former expensive house, Cole Grove sat at a small desk, studying for his insurance licensing exam. On the desk beside him stood a framed gift card for $10, a daily reminder of how far he had fallen, and how much further he still had to climb back. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. It helps the creator make more great videos like this one.